Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, it's the last day before I go back to work tomorrow, so I'm going to spend another day inside. The thumb is getting a lot better, but I'm going to continue to kind of treat it gingerly for a little while, at least through the next work week, and then maybe we'll see what happens next week. But I'm going to spend a little bit more time in this room today. As you recall, we got a lot of stuff unpacked yesterday, and I kind of consolidated a lot of things together into groups. So now I got to start figuring out where I'm going to put some of this stuff. And one of the problems I'm running into is that in the house in California, I had like shelves and a bunch of places where I could put things, and those shelves just haven't been installed yet. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of that today, and let's try and reduce the clutter a little bit. Now it is really nice, now that I've got a lot of this junk out of here, how much space I'm actually going to have in this place. Because look at all this open area here, and this is all going to be cleared out even more when I kind of get everything put into place and put onto the walls and do what I'm going to do with things. I got an enormous amount of space in here. You know, I've always secretly wanted a pool table. I actually might have room for a pool table. I don't know, that'd be kind of a fun thing to have, right? Now, since I plan on using the mantle over the fireplace to display some items, I want to start working on getting that ready. And one of the first things I want to do is I want to get this TV rack off the wall. It looks like they left the box, and a lot of the parts for the TV rack are there. So it also looks like these are just driven into the brickwork with some bolts. So I brought in a socket set, and I'm going to try and remove those now. And yep, that came off a lot easier than expected. I also revealed another thing I'm going to have to deal with. This is another one of those cases where they just kind of painted around things rather than removing them from the wall and doing it the right way. So that's fine. I'm going to repaint in here at some point anyway. So what we'll do is I'll get some masonry filler, and we'll fill up the holes before we do that, and then we'll paint over this and you'll never even see that. And one more thing that's ready to be moved out of here. Now a lot of this stuff is perfectly good, I just don't need it. So probably what I'm going to do is if I can, I'm going to take it off the wall and pack it up as neatly as I can, because I can probably sell that to somebody. So, somebody's got to want a flat screen TV mount for the wall. And that seems like a pretty good one. So might not have handled my TV. I had to have kind of a extra strength one for mine. But for an average size flat screen TV, that's really perfect for somebody. So I have kind of an amateur rock collection here, and decided I was going to display that on top of the mantle. I also found a couple of candles I brought from California. The candle holders actually match the mantle really well. So I think I'll leave those there for a while. And I found most of my CDs. There's still one box missing, but I got everything I could get posted. So basically I got A through Q here, and I got to find Q through Z. That box is still MIA. It might be in the guest bedroom, might be in the garage. And then of course I got all my Got My Voices out now too, so that's nice to have all that. Today's task was kind of more about placement of things versus actually unpacking things. So if you remember the desk yesterday, it was a little bit more messy than it is now. It's because I managed to get some of the stuff stored and placed where I want it to be, but we're not done yet. But you know what, this is going to be an ongoing project for a while. And then of course right here by the door I put up some of the signs and some of the metal signs and things like that that I picked up over the last year or so. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing that I got at the garage there, that's from the Winchester Mystery House. Winchester Repeating Arms, that's a metal plate I got, I think, at the Billy the Kid Museum. I think that's where that was. Our stop at Roswell, of course. A Back to the Future license plate. I think I got that at the Peterson Automotive Museum when Jordan and I vlogged that. And of course my Texas state corrugated flag here. That's of course got to be something that I have on the wall. And there's this little candle holder that I've got here. This is good. There's kind of an interesting story behind this thing. A number of years ago, when we're still working in the CD world, in the latter years that I worked at DMI, I attended a lot of trade shows, and one of them was in Boston, Massachusetts at the end of October. And since I was going to have to stay over the weekend that year in order to get a better flight back, it turned out that I was going to be in Massachusetts on Halloween night. Now, I decided it'd be kind of fun to take a trip to Salem, Massachusetts, and visit that place on Halloween night. And I'll tell you, that place just kind of comes apart on Halloween. At least it did in those days. I'm sure it's probably even more now. But this is a candle holder that I got in Salem, Massachusetts in probably 20 years ago when I was working in the CD industry. And the other day I uncovered the chess pieces from my chess set. I have not discovered the board yet, so that's in one of the boxes. So right now the pieces are sitting right there. This is actually part of like a card table thing that used to be my parents' and is now mine. That's actually the tabletop for that table, so I'll probably assemble that at some point. It suffered a little bit of damage in transit and the fact that it's been in storage for years and years and years, even before I moved. But I think it's one of those things that I could probably sand down, get it nice and smooth, and make it look really nice again. So we're going to do that at some point. That will be a project that I will tackle. Like I said, what I really only have to do is sand down the surface. The rest of it doesn't look too bad, and I think we could just probably clean that up and wash it a little bit and it'll look fine. And I have a little table of knickknacks and things that I've collected over the years, either from Jordan or from my parents. I believe most of this stuff came actually from my parents. I got a little model of the Colosseum, or the Parthenon, I think that is. Got the Colosseum over here, Stonehenge, that kind of cool eye-shaped Ferris wheel from London. This is something that my parents brought me just a couple years ago, and that's kind of cool. This thing's kind of interesting here. That is actually volcanic ash from Mount St. Helens, so that's kind of cool. And that is something that I believe my parents brought back for me from when they went to, I believe, Iceland. And this was like a model of some of the things they did with lava in Iceland in order to mark the trail. So that's kind of cool. You know, I like kind of volcanoes and geology and stuff like that, so that's always kind of fun. That all kind of ties into the rock collection too. Now these are a couple of shelves that are ultimately going to be put on the wall somewhere. This one here was actually made by my grandfather, who passed away many years ago, and there's actually an antique clock that sat on that for many years, and it will sit on it again. It's this clock here. This used to be my grandmother's, and I remember winding this clock up when I was visiting her in Bram, Minnesota. So I was kind of glad that I got that, and like I said, it always sat on this shelf. Now I always kind of wanted more shelves like that, so I actually took that shelf and copied it, and this is one that I made. Now, I didn't use the same wood or the same stain, but it's basically the same shape and size, so that will be used at some point too. I have some kind of nice beer steins that my parents got me when they traveled to Germany, and they always kind of sat up there. So those will get installed on the wall at some point. I got to figure out where I want to put them exactly, but they'll get put up there somewhere, and we'll display some kind of cool stuff on that at some point. I also found all the pieces of my telescope, so I think probably for the last thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to put the telescope together. Since I've got so much extra space in this place, I'm actually going to be able to have this thing fully extended, fully assembled and put together and all that. I always had to kind of keep it shrunk down and compacted because I just didn't really have a lot of place to put it, but that's not going to be the case now, so let's put that thing together. Alright, got that together. That went together pretty quickly, actually. Kind of looks like the picture, huh? Yeah? I think it's close. So we're going to push that into a corner here somewhere, and that's where that'll live. But it'll be nice to have it back and be able to go out and do a little night sighting again here. This isn't a particularly powerful telescope. In fact, it's a little bit more than a toy, but you know, it's good. You can see Jupiter and a couple of its moons. You can see Saturn and its rings. It's really great for looking at the moon. So, and you know, anything closer, Mars, Venus, you know, wouldn't want to look at the sun for that. We got something special for that. But you know, I get some good enjoyment out of it. And now that I have it set up again, we can use it again. So anyway, I think that is all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.